Have you ever felt torn between your partner and your friends, like you're being pulled in two directions? That's exactly where I find myself. My girlfriend, who I deeply care about, seems to get upset every time I hang out with my friends, no matter how much time I try to balance between them. It's as if my social life is a source of constant tension, and I'm stuck wondering if there's a way to make everyone happy, including myself. How do I navigate this without losing the people I care about? I'm a 27-year-old guy, living in a bustling city where balancing work and life is already a juggling act. I've been dating my girlfriend Emma for about a year now. We met through mutual friends at a concert, and things clicked almost immediately. Emma is passionate, driven, and the kind of person who lights up a room when she walks in. I'm in sales, which means my job demands a lot of my time and energy, but I love what I do. Despite the hectic schedule, I've always made it a priority to maintain strong friendships, considering them my anchor in life's chaos. Initially, everything was going smoothly. Emma and my friends seemed to get along well, and we all hung out together often. But over the past few months, something has shifted. It started subtly. Emma would make passing comments whenever I made plans with my friends without her. I brushed it off at first, thinking it was just a one-time thing, but soon her frustration became more pronounced. Each time I mentioned a guy's night out or an impromptu meetup, she'd express her displeasure, leaving me feeling guilty and caught in the middle. At first, I thought maybe it was just a phase, or perhaps she felt left out. I started inviting her more often, but there are times when I just need to unwind with the guys, you know. As her irritation continued to surface, I began questioning whether I was being fair or if I was missing something crucial. The problem seemed to grow bigger every time I tried to dismiss it. Now it's like a cloud hanging over our relationship, and I can't shake the feeling that I'm failing at keeping the peace between my world and hers. Things took a turn for the worse one evening when I came home late after a particularly exhausting workday, followed by an impromptu dinner with a couple of close friends. I had texted Emma earlier to let her know I'd be late, thinking it was just common courtesy and that she'd understand. However, when I walked through the door, I was greeted with silence, the kind of silence that screams louder than words. Emma sat on the couch, eyes fixed on the television but clearly not watching. I could feel the tension in the room, thick and palpable. She finally looked at me, her expression a mix of hurt and annoyance. "Did you even think to include me in your plans, or am I just an afterthought now?" she asked, her voice laced with a calm anger that I hadn't heard before. That night we had our first serious argument. It was the kind of argument that dredges up all the unspoken grievances and unresolved feelings. Emma confessed that she felt sidelined, like she was competing with my friends for my time and attention. She even hinted that maybe my priorities weren't in the right place, a comment that stung more than I expected. In the heat of the moment, I reacted defensively, insisting that I needed time with my friends to decompress and that it didn't diminish my feelings for her. But Emma's tears and her quiet, "I just want to be important to you," lingered with me long after the argument ended. To complicate matters further, my workload unexpectedly increased as my company began pushing for the end-of-year sales targets. This meant late nights at the office and working weekends, leaving me less time for everyone, including Emma. The stress was mounting, and I could feel the pressure from all sides. My performance at work was slipping, and at home, things felt tense and unresolved. During this period, Emma received some upsetting family news. Her mother had been diagnosed with a chronic illness. Emma needed support, and I wanted to be there for her, but balancing everything was starting to feel impossible. I was stretched too thin, and it seemed like every decision I made was the wrong one, leaving someone unhappy. The emotional toll was immense. I found myself constantly anxious, dreading the next confrontation or the next message I'd have to send, canceling plans. My friends started noticing too, asking if everything was okay. I was trapped in a whirlwind of stress and guilt, unsure of how to fix things or even where to begin. The fear of losing Emma or alienating my friends was ever present, and for the first time I felt truly lost. Determined to mend the rift with Emma, I decided to take a proactive approach. The first step was to initiate a heartfelt conversation, one where I was willing to listen more than defend. We sat down over a quiet dinner at home, and I encouraged Emma to share her feelings openly. I wanted to understand her perspective without turning it into another argument. Emma appreciated the gesture and admitted that her frustration stemmed from feeling disconnected, especially since her mother's diagnosis. She wanted us to be a team, facing life's challenges together, not as individuals on separate paths. Hearing her vulnerability made me realize that my actions, or lack thereof, had contributed to her feelings of isolation. In response, I suggested we establish a routine where we could spend quality time together, like weekly date nights or exploring new hobbies as a couple. Additionally, I proposed setting aside one evening a week for my friends, ensuring Emma felt included in the decision. Emma seemed receptive, and for a moment it felt like we were on the path to healing. I also reached out to a couple of close friends for advice. They suggested I try to involve Emma in more group activities, ensuring she felt part of my social circle, and they offered to plan a casual get-together where everyone could reconnect. Despite these efforts, another unexpected challenge emerged. My company announced a sudden restructuring, leading to potential layoffs. The uncertainty added another layer of stress, as I was unsure about my job's stability. The prospect of losing my income loomed large, making it difficult to focus on anything else. The fear of financial instability put additional strain on my relationship with Emma. I became more withdrawn, preoccupied with thoughts of what-ifs and worst-case scenarios. Emma, sensing my stress, tried to be supportive, but my anxiety made it hard for me to open up, creating a new wall between us. Emma, too, was grappling with her own challenges. Her mother's health was deteriorating faster than expected, and she needed to spend more time with her family. We both had our separate battles, and finding a way to be there for each other felt more complicated than ever. In trying to juggle everything, I realized that my attempts to fix things were like putting band-aids on a leaking dam. I needed to dig deeper, reassess my priorities, and find a way to navigate these turbulent waters without sinking the relationships that mattered most to me. The ongoing tension with Emma and the looming uncertainty at work have taken a significant toll on me, both emotionally and mentally. I find myself caught in a cycle of stress and exhaustion, where each day feels like I'm merely going through the motions. The carefree moments I once enjoyed with my friends now seem distant, overshadowed by the constant pressure of trying to keep everything from falling apart. Socially, I've become more withdrawn. My friends have noticed my absence and the change in my demeanor when I'm around. I'm not as engaged in conversations, often lost in thought or distracted by my phone, anxiously checking for updates from work or messages from Emma. The laughter and camaraderie that used to come so naturally feel forced now, as if I'm an actor in a play rather than a participant in my own life. At home, the atmosphere is tense. Emma and I still have moments of closeness, but they're often interrupted by the specter of unresolved issues and unspoken concerns. The easy banter we once shared has been replaced by cautious conversations, each of us tiptoeing around sensitive topics. It's as if we're both afraid of saying the wrong thing and sparking another argument. The emotional strain is compounded by the sense of guilt that weighs heavily on me. Guilt for not being the partner Emma needs during this challenging time, for not being present enough for my friends, and for not performing at my best at work. I feel like I'm failing in every aspect of my life, unable to fulfill the roles expected of me. This internal conflict has seeped into my work life as well. The motivation and drive that fueled my career have been replaced by a lingering sense of dread. The restructuring has left everyone on edge, and I struggle to focus on tasks, worried about what the future holds. Overall, my quality of life has diminished. The joy I once found in simple pleasures is overshadowed by a persistent feeling of hopelessness. I wake up each morning hoping for clarity, for some sign that things will improve, but often find myself staring into the mirror, questioning how I ended up here and whether I have the strength to navigate the storm that seems to follow me everywhere. As the weight of these issues bears down on me, I find myself contemplating drastic measures I never thought I'd consider. The idea of a breakup with Emma has started to creep into my thoughts. Not because I want to lose her, but because I wonder if our relationship is becoming toxic under the strain. Could a separation give us the space we need to reevaluate and prioritize our needs? The thought fills me with dread, as I can't imagine my life without her, yet the ongoing friction makes me question our compatibility. On the other hand, the possibility of losing my job due to the restructuring has prompted me to think about downsizing my lifestyle. I've considered selling my car, moving to a smaller apartment, or even looking for a less stressful job that could potentially pay less but offer more stability. The social stigma attached to such decisions looms large, especially in a city where appearances often seem as crucial as reality. I fear the long-term consequences of these choices. What if breaking up with Emma only leads to regret and loneliness? What if downsizing leaves me in a financial rut that I can't escape? the uncertainty is overwhelming, making it difficult to take any decisive action. I worry about how these changes would impact my mental health, as well as my relationships with friends and family who have always seen me as someone who has it together. These thoughts keep me up at night, as I weigh the potential relief of making a drastic change against the fear of what it might mean for my future. I'm torn between the desire to take action and the paralyzing fear of making things worse, leaving me in a state of limbo that's as exhausting as the problems themselves. As I stand at this crossroads, reflecting on the past months of emotional upheaval and uncertainty, I realize just how overwhelmed I've become. The constant juggling act between my relationship with Emma, my friendships, and my career has left me drained and unsure of which path to take. The thought of making a drastic change is terrifying, yet I can't shake the feeling that something has to give. I've shared my story here not just to seek guidance, but also in the hope that putting my thoughts into words might bring some clarity. Has anyone else faced a similar dilemma, caught between love, friendship, and the pressures of work? How did you navigate such a complex web of responsibilities without losing yourself or the people you care about? I'm looking for advice, experiences, or even just reassurance that I'm not alone in feeling this way. I wonder if there's a perspective I haven't considered or a small step I could take that might make a difference. It's comforting to know that others might have faced similar challenges and found a way through. Though I'm not expecting a miracle solution, any insight would be invaluable as I try to find balance and regain a sense of control over my life. For now, I'm here, reaching out to this community, hoping for a glimmer of hope or a word of wisdom that could help me move forward. I'm a 27-year-old juggling work, friends, and a relationship with Emma, who's upset about my social life. Despite efforts, tensions remain, seeking advice on balancing priorities.